obviously we're here to talk about Fried Barry. It's out on Shudder very, very soon. Are you excited for it to be unleashed upon the world?
It's crazy because I've never, obviously this is my first feature film, so I've never been in this position before. So, I mean, it's 2 days and then it gets released 7th of May on Shudder. So it's exciting. It's crazy that, it's been a long time coming because, we had the festival run and everything, for the past year. So now finally that, it gets out there to breathe and stuff like that. It's going to be awesome just to see, and people talking about it and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun.
I mean, in my review, I think I described the film as being E.T. on acid, but the film actually started as an experimental film with, it was alienless. At what stage when you were developing it did the extraterrestrial element come in? And why, out of all the films that you had, did you decide that Fried Barry was the one you were going to expose yourself to the world with?
Yeah, I mean, just you saying that, it's that like ET on acid, it's like that the adult version of ET, which is very much so. When I made the short experimental, it was a standalone experimental. It was like there was never any plans to make it into a feature or anything like that. And I think for a first-time director for a feature film, I think it's always that big thing for a director to be like, what film are you going to make first? Because it matters a lot. What film is the right film to make first? And, I had all these other different scripts that I could have made. Probably would have been way easier as well. But then when I thought of this idea, and I think because the short did well at festivals and won awards and all that, I think it kind of like planted that seed, in my brain. But at the same time, it was never designed to, it was never a plan to make it into a feature. But then when I was sitting there thinking, right, I'm going to make a feature, which script am I going to do? And then when I got the idea, it just came to me and I thought, this is the film. This is the right one to do, because one, I haven't seen anything like this, and it's a pretty hard film to forget. So there was all these like little things that really draw me to it. Like if I haven't seen it before, or the 12-year, the young kid in me from back in the day would be like, I would love this film. So it was very much so that. So when I got the idea, I was like, this is the one. I know this is the right one to make it, but it just had to be the right story, the right character, and the right way how I was going to make this film, because at the same time I wanted to make this cult style film, very 80s influenced, and at the same time be an experience for an audience member watching the film. Because I mean, the story is very straightforward. It's about a heroin addict that gets abducted by aliens, spat back out, and this alien takes this human on this joyride, and it's almost like a road trip movie without a car. It buries the car, and you're just going on this journey. So in every aspect, whether it's sound or cinematography and editing, it's designed for you to go on this trip as Barry or with Barry. And and it's designed to just to take you on this journey, and it's meant to feel disjointed, and it's like that fly that's bothering you, or somebody's tapping you on the shoulder, and you're just on this ride. And it's a fun movie, and that's why I said it's not about the story, it's about the journey, it's about the experience that you go on, and just let go, just sit back and enjoy it. And that's why I think it's one of those films, you either get it or you don't, you either love it or you hate it, and that's okay. It's definitely, it's quite a bold film, so it's not meant for everyone, and I know that. So yeah, that's it almost, it's like we see the darker side of humanity, and and to show how crazy society is. And it's not really about how crazy the alien is, it's about how crazy the world that he's seeing around him. And it's him experiencing the world, and it's the world experiencing him as the character of who he is.
Yeah. And I mean, you've worked with Gary a few times over the years, but I mean, he's not quote unquote traditionally trained as an actor. You know, why was it so important to you that he follow through and play Barry in this film?
Yeah, so I mean, because of the success of the short, and then when I got the idea, I'm like, I have to get Gary. And as you said, I've worked with Gary for about 11 years now, and I've always put him in like small parts and stuff, and he's just got that great face. He's got that unique face, and I love characters. And with Gary, he's just got this look that nobody looks like Gary. He's just got this look. Nobody's going to come up to him and be like, "Hey, are you John?" They'll be like, "No." He's Fry Barry, and Gary's just got that presence and that look, and nobody could have done this role better than Gary. Like, there's no way. It's like, you could get an actor and try and make him look like this and look like that, and with this, Gary is Fry Barry. He's the thing, and it's obviously it's a major part of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very almost mute performance. It relies a lot on physicality. Did you guys have a lot of time to sort of work together and hone exactly how you thought this person from space would be reacting to all these things?
Not that much, to be honest, and the reason why was because he's not a trained actor. I didn't want to fill his head with all this. He knew that the story, in a sense of what the movie's about, but I needed a clean slate every single day when I'm directing it. So I didn't want him to fill him with information and because he's not trained. I didn't want him to overthink all this stuff. So he only knew what we were doing when it came to the day. I'm like, okay, Gary, this is what we're doing. We're going to do this and this, and that's the thing. I mean, with the dialogue and stuff that I wrote and the scenes that I wrote, but I was open to a lot of improv, and I love, as an actor myself as well, I love improv, and I love shaping up little things where nothing's set in concrete. So there was a lot of actors that I worked with on Fry Barry that we did a lot of improv with, where I'm like, okay, let's try this. Okay, so we got this idea and this idea, let's try that and see what happens. And then I'd shape it, and then we'd go, cool, we're going to shoot this one. But then with Gary, he was the only one that didn't improv. So what's interesting about that was, with the character within the movie, he mimics a lot of these characters, where somebody says something or somebody looks a certain way or says something, and he will mimic them. And then when it came to directing, I was there on the other side of the camera going, okay, Gary, all right, copy my face. Okay, now do this face. Now pull this face. Now pull that face. And at the same time, I'm busy editing the movie or the scene in my head. So I know, all right, I've got this shot. I need a reaction for this shot. I've got this, and it's meant to be that offbeat, weird, because at the end of the day, he's an alien, and it's and that's why I'm saying the movie's designed in such a way that the character, to make this movie, it was, and to shape it around Gary to make it work, it's all those things that had to tick the boxes for this thing to actually work. And then, because I mean, it would be a different story if it was like a very dialogue driven movie, and then I wouldn't have cast Gary. I would have cast somebody else. But then that's not the movie I want to make. I want to make the movie with Gary. So even like with the delivery of lines, it's like, even if it does sound weird because he's mimicking somebody else, it's fine. He's an alien, so it doesn't matter. It's like, and that's why I'm saying it ticks all these boxes in a sense of, would the character do this? Would the character do that? And because he's mimicking, that's a part of the character. So yeah, everything just had to be right to do this. But like I said, nobody could play this part better than Gary, and yeah, he nailed it. He was like, I mean, even at the beginning of the shoot, I said to him, as like, just listen to me very carefully, and we're going to go on this journey together. Don't feel intimidated by all these other, because I mean, there was a lot of other big South African actors in the movie, but they were playing like small roles, and then he was the lead. So and I think Gary knew that this was his shot to do something amazing and something cool, and I'm so happy that he did such a great job, and I'm happy that I saw something in him and gave him a chance that nobody else would, and that's what's awesome. And it was such a pleasure to work with.
I mean, the other sort of key element of the film when I was watching it is the soundscape. It's with there being such a lack of dialogue, there's obviously a lot of music. I know that you yourself have a history in directing music videos, so I'm guessing that that came into play a little bit when you were making the film. But just wondering how you found your composer and what that collaboration was like, because it's almost like the narrator of the film in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with this type of film, again, with the design of what the film is, and I think a lot of people forget how good it is to get somebody to score your movie and to get somebody to do set and sound design. Because I mean, it's easy just to get a bunch of music or somebody just to do stuff or find stuff and then just put it on the movie, but it makes such a big difference. It's like growing up in the 80s when you would watch these certain films, a part of that memory was the music. A part of that memory of going back to remembering that film is that music. So the tone of the film and relied on that music, and especially like with the abduction and stuff like that, with the sound design, and Hazer did an amazing job. So at the start of the process, I would give references and sounds or whatever that I'd like, that I wanted to put into certain scenes, or getting that right tone and feel. Because the other thing is with the tone of the movie, what I wanted it to be, and for the audience member to feel at certain times, it's so important. It's such a big part of the movie. And working with Hazer, we would I'd give him references, and we would create this world, and then I'd let him run with it. And we've worked together for many years now, so he knows my style, he knows what I like, he knows what I don't like, and yeah, he's just very super talented. And when I knew I was going to get Hazer to score this movie, I was like, now I know I'm going to get exactly what I want. And he's very, very talented guy.
Yeah, and I think all of the elements sort of work together to create this film that, despite its insane story, is actually quite heartfelt and emotional, with so much sort of improv along the way. Did you realize that it was going to end up being such an emotional gut punch? Because I mean, I was almost in tears at the end of the film. So
yeah, I've heard that from so many people, but that's the thing. It's very much the ET ending. That's what it is. And when I created this character, I wanted him to be this horrible drug addict, just bastard to his wife and kids. And then when people are watching it, they're like, oh, how are we going to like this guy? This guy's he's an asshole. And then as it goes along, he's actually a better person as an alien. He's a nicer person. And then when he gets beaten up, we start to care for him. We be like, oh no, Barry, oh no, what's happening? And what was very important to me was, I mean, Fried Barry's got you got the sci-fi, you've got the horror, you've got the black comedy, you got that dark humor, but it has a lot of heart. Like you said, and the heart of the movie is his wife. She was so very important to the movie, just to ground and bring him back to this. That's the heart of the movie, and it was so important. And I really wanted to capture that thing at the end, which is very much like that ET ending, where he becomes a better guy for for his wife. He becomes a better person, and then now he has to go, and you're like, oh no, like we don't want the old Barry, we want this Barry, and now he has to go, and it's like, so yeah, I'm really happy that worked. And there's been a few people, like you said, then were like nearly in tears at the end, and that's cool, that's awesome. And I think it's definitely a very important part of the film. But again, the film's a very bold film, and it's not for everybody. So some people won't even give that a chance or see that. I mean, there's a lot of depth in the film about society and about all these things. And I mean, it's the story's easy, and that's why I said it's not about the story, it's about the journey, and it's about this experience. It's in every aspect, whether it's cinematography or editing or sound design and the intermission and the all these like little things. That's all designed in a certain way to take you on this experience and this journey.
Yeah, and I mean, even now the film's done, you haven't left Barry behind. I mean, I was one of the recipients of one of the things that you guys sent out to press and fans that sort of tweeted about the film during the festival run. So I guess you kept Gary as Barry for a long time now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. He is Barry. He'll always be Barry to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie, it was a little disconcerting to get Barry saying my name. I don't think I opened it until like midnight or something, just before bed. So it was, it's a nice little bit of promo work.
Yes, the thing is which was so nice about the festival run and stuff like that, and all these people that complimented the film, and all these fans that really love the film. And yeah, we just decided to give back to all those people that loved the film and experienced it, to give those like little shout outs, which we did like a hell of a lot. A hell of a lot. But it was a lot of fun, and a lot of people appreciated it. And with this type of film, if it wasn't for the people that enjoy it and everything, it's the film wouldn't exist. Yeah,
like I say, I mean, it did slightly terrify me, because I'm actually terrified of ET. So the fact that
you're one of those. There's a few people that I know are terrified of ET when they were little. I'm like, it's ET. Like, how can you be frightened of ET?
I mean, I don't know. I guess it was a strange thing that came into their house. But I think for me, it was more the fact that I watched the film and then I had a recurring dream that ET was chasing me around a TV show in the UK, Blue Peter. I had a recurring dream that ET was like chasing me around the Blue Peter Studios, and that was it. So I guess watching Barry and sort of feeling some sort of link to ET, then sort of like having sort of ET saying my name, it was
well, sorry about that, and thank you for that.
It's fine. Obviously, you've recently debuted your new short, Meow 2, at Grimfest. Obviously, Barry started as a short. There's been a lot of buzz around this one. Are you sort of hoping that maybe that one would get expanded out to feature as well?
Well, sorry, say it again, the last bit.
Are you hoping that Meow 2 might go the route of Barry and get expanded out to feature?
No. It's I said this about Barry, to be honest, when I made it, but yeah, it's just they're all just standalone experimental films. I think it was just pure chance that I thought of the idea that I thought of for Fry Barry, that I knew it would work. I mean, my two main references for Fry Barry was John Carpenter's Starman, that 90s film, Bad Boy Bubby, and obviously E.T. So it was a mixture of those and my style all mixed up and to create something different and new. So when I got that idea, I just knew straight away, like, this is the one. I know how I'm going to do this, and I haven't seen it before, and it's definitely going to stand out. And it's so funny because that's why I said I had all these other scripts I could have done, but it's like when you get a certain idea and you just know. It's hard to explain. It's just like when it's like, I know this is the right choice. I definitely know. I don't even though I didn't have a physical script, I was like, this is the one to do. And where I was in my life at the time, I went through a very hard time. I had something wrong with my kidney. I had an operation. I got sepsis. I nearly died. My cat had cancer. I lost my girlfriend at the time. There was just all of these things all at the same time. It was like the worst time of my life. And I went into depression and I went down this hole, and it was like the one thing that got me out was Fry Barry. It saved my life in so many ways. It was just like, right, what is the one thing that I've always wanted to do with my life? And it was to make a feature film. And so when I got the idea and I just knew, I was like, this is it. And the reason why it was this one more than the others, because where I was at the time, I know with this film, I could be super creative. So I'm not just sticking to a formula. I'm not just sticking to what's on the page. I could be super creative in every single aspect. And there was a lot of, there's so many like little personal things within the movie, like little Easter eggs, nothing to do with drugs. I don't take drugs or anything like that. But there was, there's always just like certain characters or this, which is related to me, or certain one-liners or whatever that. It's just like, there's so many little things in that movie, so it's a very personal film to me as well, and not all the bad stuff. Not all the bad stuff, just like the little bits of little Easter eggs within the movie.
Do you think you could be tempted to do any sort of sequel, either short format or long format? I mean, there's Sticky Vicky's whole, what's she doing now,
Exactly. So yeah, so it's all those. I mean, there's a lot of people that have already said you got to make a sequel. You got to make a sequel. So I've got a few really good ideas for a second one if we did it. But yeah, I think we just have to wait and see. But it's so open to, and that's why the way the movie ended. It's like, is that Barry? Is it alien Barry? Is it the normal Barry? And it's almost like it's just started, in a sense.
Well, I will, wish you best of luck with the film, and I'll keep my fingers crossed that we see some sort of continuation.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and I'm so happy that you enjoyed the movie. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I mean, I rewatched it last night, and I don't know how you managed to do it, but I didn't have a drink or anything, and it does get you straight into that headspace of like being out on a bender. So I guess at the minute with like clubs and everything being shut down, if you want a night out, Fried Barry is yeah, much cheaper.
Yeah, much cheaper. Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.